When we refer to Paul Nabor now, we think of him as this legend, many floors up in the Tower of Song. But his recording career is incredibly short. As far as we know, it's limited to 3 tracks on this Stone Tree album from the year 2000.
It's very interesting and also very unique. I think Paul Nabor has to be one of the few artists in the entire world who have achieved this status by only recording a handful of songs. He probably has recorded less than 10 songs in his entire career.
And how it happened is almost an accident or an afterthought, dating back to 1995 when this seminal album was being recorded in Benqueviejo.
I wouldn't have ever met Nabor if it wasn't for Andy Palacio. He played me once a tape that he had made at the Temple in PG. And we were in Benque recording the Camo album in 1995. And Andy wanted to include one of Nabor's songs in that album. So he played it for me, and I remember still that moment of being very, very intrigued by this raspy sounding voice and this passion coming out of that. A very raw recording, but I knew there was something bigger behind that recording.
And that intrigue took him to Nabor's temple in Punta Gorda town, where he met the unassuming, slight-built man with a powerful voice and an unmistakable presence.
I went to PG and I finally met Nabor, and like they say, the rest is history. I totally fell in love with that man. It was something incredible. Nabor changed my life. From that moment onward, I was a different person because of Nabor. It was much more than just his music or his voice. It was his humanity. It was the way he embraced me and Andy and what we were doing, and the way he basically offered himself in any way to get this music and these songs out there to the world.
Getting him to record in Belize City wasn't that easy.
He didn't want to leave the temple in PG. When I told him that the closest professional studio was in Belize City at Diamond Studios, right away he was reluctant to leave the temple and go and record. And we had to convince him. And one way to convince him was that he could bring his friends with him along to Belize City. So he came with his musicians, with his drummers and his background singers that were playing in the temple with him regularly. And we recorded many songs.
He was the first to lend himself to be recorded at that level, and level of production and distribution.
I'll never forget those sessions. It was, the term magical gets used a lot, but if I have to use it, I have to use it in the context of Paul Nabor and recording Paranda music.
And from that magic, we have distilled an album that created a paradigm shift in the world's appreciation of Garifuna music.
Of course, everything looks very easy now in 2014. Everybody takes for granted that Paranda music is alive and well, and we have all these icons and all these very popular songs that still play on the radio every day, etc. But in 1994 and 1995, this was basically a dying art form. There were no more youths wanting to play Paranda music. There were very few guitarists playing the acoustic guitar and strumming in the Paranda style. And so again, if it wasn't for Andy and that recording that he played for me, I wouldn't have discovered Paranda music at that point in time. And it was because of that recording that I did with Andy that made me want to go and meet Nabor. And that album to me is without doubt the most important album I've ever done, because we were able to recreate in the studio something that barely existed at that point in time.